While the 1970s may not seem like a bad era to live in, the culinary experts in those times were certainly trying to make people think they were living in horrific times with these brutal dinners. Let's explore. Number 20. Tuna and waffles. The 1970s now seem like a golden age of tranquility compared to our current era. But there's one thing we've improved upon since the 70s: eating. This deadly combination makes us gag just thinking about it. It's like if shit on a shingle had a monstrous radioactive cousin. If you feel like you're brave enough to have taste buds that can withstand this, you may want to try out tuna and waffles. But don't tell us we didn't warn you. It isn't much different than creamed tuna on toast. Basically bechamel with a can of tuna and whatever veg you want to mix in. The tuna mixture was spooned over the waffles, creating a savory and creamy topping. Some recipes might have suggested garnishing with fresh herbs or a sprinkle of paprika for color. Replacing the toast with waffles makes sense since the nooks and crannies would hold the sauce. It actually used to be a quick dinner for some. One hell of a comfort food, right? The white sauce made from the roux, butter, and flour, combined with milk or cream. Sometimes cheese, peas, or mushrooms were added to the sauce for extra flavor. Tuna used to be called chicken of the sea because everybody liked chicken, but nobody liked tuna. So mothers would pass off tuna as chicken to their children on toast and waffles. We couldn't imagine anything more brutal. Number 19. Leftover Jello. Why clean your fridge out when you can just throw all your leftovers in a Jello mold and turn it into a leftover Jello? Sounds like something even Satan can't come up with, right? For some crazies in the 70s, this was an actual dish they came up with. Back in post-war America, Jello-type dishes used to be genuinely hard and expensive to make before fridges were commonplace. It used to be a status symbol like caviar or foie gras. Now suddenly everyone could make it, and they were trying any recipe they could think of. Leftover meats, vegetables, and fruits were often incorporated into gelatin dishes. Items like canned pineapple, fruit cocktail, and even canned tuna were also used. Just looking at these ingredients makes us say, why not throw some cigarette butts in there as well? One particularly infamous example is the perfection salad, which combines lime jello with shredded cabbage, carrots, and sometimes olives or pimentos. Another is the jellied consommé, a savory gelatin made with leftover broth and bits of meat or vegetables, which could be off-putting to those unaccustomed to savory gelatin dishes. The concept of using leftovers in this way reflected in cultural emphasis on frugality and resourcefulness in the kitchen, as well as the novelty and creativity that were often prized in 1970s home cooking. Number 18. Liver and onions. Some old-school foods are often met with a combination of head-shaking humor and distaste. There was a time when these dishes were the height of entertaining elegance and fun family dining, but they fell out of favor for a reason. They are ghastly. They do not look good. They do not taste good. Liver and onions are a prime candidate. Mention liver and onions to baby boomers, and they either love and crave it or they hate it. Past that, liver and onions as a dinner is virtually a non-starter. The poor reputation that liver has earned is undoubtedly due to the many, many bad food service preparations people have encountered. It's a well-earned reputation. Tough, leathery, dry, greasy, salty. People have choked down liver in all these forms. Sadly, though, sometimes even when it's well prepared, a dish still won't be appealing to everyone. The liver used can vary depending on preference, but the most common are beef liver or chicken liver. The liver is often soaked in milk or water for a few hours before cooking. This process helps to mellow the strong, sometimes bitter flavor and tenderize the meat. As the 1970s began to bring in awareness of dietary health and calorie counting, poor, out-of-fashion liver with its high fat and cholesterol content was abandoned for chicken. What had always been considered a food that was good for you was now perceived as supremely unhealthy, which seems to have been the proverbial nail in the coffin. Number 17. Ice cream. on hot wheat. Ice cream on hot cream of wheat. Surely they don't go together. Or do they, because they're both creams? Whoever came up with this was probably too lazy or too hungover. Imagine a cold scoop of ice cream mixed with hot wheat. Even your taste buds would go crazy. It's like mush that absorbs all attempts to flavor it. Just sucks the flavor down into a bottomless pit of bland, never to be seen again. Cream of wheat is literally the absence of flavor, congealed into a food-like substance. The base of the dish is a hot wheat cereal, such as cream of wheat or wheatna, which is a smooth, creamy porridge made from ground wheat. Combinations like these are the reason people are suspicious of recipes with the word surprise in it. Additionally, toppings like honey, maple syrup, nuts, or fruit could be added to enhance the dish's flavor and texture. So the next time you're even out of milk or just really bored, try adding a scoop of ice cream to your cereal to experience what some kids with lazy moms in the 70s had to go through in every breakfast. Number 16, fish pudding. The 60s and 70s had far worse recipes than this, but nothing is quite as bad as bland, unseasoned, mushy fish pudding. The look on Max's face when he tries the pie tells us everything we need to know. It goes from interesting to, oh no, to, I made a grievous error in less than 5 seconds. Chances are when you think of winter comfort food, steak pie and mashed potatoes spring to mind. Shredded fish bound in white egg and steamed? Not so much. Fish pudding is a dish made primarily from fish, combined with various other ingredients. Usually white fish like cod, haddock, or whiting is used, but any firm flesh fish can be suitable. In British cuisine, fish pudding might include mashed potatoes and be similar to a fish pie without the crust. Steamed fish pudding shows all the signs of ending well. The three words are all delicious individually, but combined, you may end up with something that will make you gag. Number 15, salmon, trout, and aspic. This thing looks like it wants to kill you. Don't be fooled by its supposedly fun little parsley toupee. This nasty little fish has got a backbone of spawns, and it wants you and your family dead in the most painful way possible. Aspic is a savory jelly made from meat or fish stock that sets when cooled, often used to encase meats, fish, or vegetables in an elegant presentation. It's really cursed magic invented by an evil wizard. Where did the tomato soup and cream cheese flavors go? Why doesn't it jiggle like Jello, even with 2 envelopes of Knox in it? How is it so delightful atop a crispy Ritz cracker? Must be magic. Salmon, trout, and aspic was often served as a centerpiece at dinner parties or buffet tables. The clear aspic allows the colorful vegetables and herbs to be seen, creating an appealing presentation. Number 14, burgle. Who remembers the great cucumber shortage of 1976? That can surely be the only explanation for the lack of any cucumbers in this picture of a burgle salad. Even worse when you read the recipe and it says it feeds 8. We're sure everyone enjoyed their half of a piece of cucumber. We just hope that fisticuffs didn't break out over which half of the family got a black olive. It's quick to prepare burgle wheat salad. There's nothing to cook except for boiling burgle wheat. I think this would appeal to people who want to make a quick and healthy lunch for the next day. And also, we hate to bring things down to the level of the toilet. But are little black ovoid shapes really the best garnish for a salad that already looks like kitty litter? Number 13, cranberry mayo jelly candles. It might take a second to process this, but this is an actual recipe for edible candles made out of mayonnaise and canned cranberry sauce and gelatin that you're supposed to both light on fire and eat. To repeat in the recipe's words, smooth light Hellmann's mellows the tart cranberries to create a holiday salad with elegant new flavor in an elegant new candle shape. The taste may not have been that bad, but why would you need to make your food into a candle? It's like making a recipe for a hammer made of tightly compressed beef jerky and licorice, or a bookend made of canned green beans and cornbread. taste aside, which is probably something like a tangy cranberry creamsicle. This is one of the dinners from the 70s that we found that's probably closest to the brink of actual insanity. If, however, you're going to a dinner party and want to bring food that's almost Shakespearean in its disgusting vengefulness, these things will probably do the trick. Number 12. Banana and ham hollandaise. Never have bananas been so helpless in this 1970s monstrosity. Originally published in McCall's Great American Recipe Card Collection from 1973, this oddity finally marries bananas to ham with a slathering of lemon juice, mustard, and hollandaise sauce for a piping hot, potassium-rich nightmare straight out of the oven. But why? Who thought of this? Who woke up and said, "You know what? I'm going to eat a banana with ham and hollandaise, and you can't stop me." This dish and others during that same time was the culinary equivalent to midlife crisis. Super embarrassing for everyone except the poor soul locked in the deeply emotional turmoil of advancing age. The recipe instructs to spread ham slices with mustard, wrap each banana with a slice of ham, arrange in a single layer in the casserole, bake for 10 minutes. The finished dish smelled like a banana slaughterhouse. The end result was okay going down, but 2 cans of Coke and a mouthful of Listerine did nothing for the lingering aftertaste. Important note, if your face assumes a 1,000-yard stare after eating something, there is something wrong with that food. Making it was pretty straightforward. As for taste, it's not bad. It was just a combination of salty and sweet that would leave your taste buds confused and bewildered. Now, ham and banana hollandaise only resides in old sticky recipe books and in the haunted memories of your grandparents as a misguided attempt to impress dinner party guests. Number 11. Baked marrow surprise. Apparently, the 70s was a time when everyone felt empowered to become a mad kitchen scientist, which seemed to involve taking foods that are least likely to complement each other and mixing them together in the same dish, like this abomination from the 70s, which was called the baked marrow surprise. Just like any recipe from those days that had the word surprise in it, this was another work of horror from the nightmarish kitchens of those days. A zucchini stuffed with marrow and orange or grapefruit slices and then baked. We still don't know what they were going for with this. While millennials are often shamed for their love of avocados, at least they're not participating in this abomination. If you really love avocados, you might want to look away from this one. Number 10. Fondu loha. Looking at the recipe for fondu loha makes us think they just grabbed every ingredient they had in their kitchen and layered it on top of each other. Betty Crocker's 1971 recipe card for fondu loha comes under the subheading American Classics, a perplexing concept for a dish consisting of pineapple, served with turkey, celery, curried mayonnaise, banana, mandarin segments, and coconut. It isn't cooked in a casserole dish like most of the recipes. This so-called American classic starts off with potential, with what looks like a tropical chicken salad. Could be a total win, but once the recipe calls for peanuts, bananas, and a pineapple boat, it's just too much. The name is a bit of a puzzle as well, as there is no connection to fondue at all. Thankfully, as of yet, none have focused on bringing back fondu loha, hopefully meaning this ghastly invention never appears in kitchens again. Number 9. Cheeseburger pie. Cheeseburger pie, or better yet known as hamburger casserole it turns out, was in fact a common meal for many who grew up in the sunflower state of Kansas. Though the recipes varied, all basically followed the same formula. Noodles layered with a cream cheese sour cream mixture, topped with hamburger and cheese, and baked. Literally a compressed pie of ground beef with cheese topping and ketchup that looks like finger paint. Imagine being served a normal-looking pie, and right when you take the layer off, it's full of ground beef. Now that can throw anybody off their chair. Some versions use a traditional pastry crust, while others might use a biscuit mix or even a crescent roll dough as the base or topping. A common recipe was surprisingly on the side of a Bisquick box. Mix up a batch of Bisquick, roll it out on a floured board. Brown a pound of ground beef with diced onion and whatever seasonings you like. Spread the ground beef on the dough, sprinkle liberally with shredded cheese. Top with ketchup, mustard, and diced pickles. Roll up and seal the ends. Bake at 350 degrees until the dough is completely cooked. While you can't exactly call it a comfort food, it used to be a filling dinner for many Midwestern families. While hamburger pie might have been a beloved family meal in the 1970s, it hasn't aged well in terms of culinary appeal. The combination of mushy canned vegetables, greasy ground beef, and heavy mashed potatoes can result in a dish that is overly rich, lacking in fresh flavors, and unappealing in texture. The tendency for the ingredients to meld into a somewhat indistinguishable mass during baking has earned the dish a reputation for being disgusting or brutal by modern tastes. Number 8. Round steak and ravioli. Zucchini, mushroom spaghetti sauce, and canned ravioli. This is the kind of thing we imagine being put on the table in the 70s with the warning, you'll eat it and you'll like it. While this dish may not be as brutal as the rest, it's certainly what we call unconventional. Round steak and ravioli is a product of its time, reflecting the mid-20th century American kitchen's reliance on hearty, filling dishes that could feed a family. Convenience foods like canned tomatoes and store-bought pasta made it easy for home cooks to prepare satisfying meals without spending all day in the kitchen. Despite the frugal claims, round steak and ravioli is still presented as a plentiful and enjoyable dish, one to share with family members throughout the week. Pasta filled with cheese, meat, or vegetables. Store-bought ravioli was a convenient option, though homemade ravioli could also be used. Round steak and ravioli probably won't become America's national dish anytime soon, though. Unless you're eager to dig into meat mixed with canned ravioli, whole unpeeled zucchinis, and canned spaghetti sauce. Round steak and ravioli was likely intended as a practical and easy dinner, but to modern taste it might seem unappealing or even disgusting. The toughness of the round steak combined with the soft, sometimes mushy texture of canned ravioli created a dish that was likely more about convenience than flavor. Number 7. Fish mousse. We really don't mind the fish shape, but the face takes it over the top to just weird. It's the pureed fish on a bed of fibrous lettuce and raw cherry tomato that really nails the insanity. If you thought that salmon mousse died in the 70s, we're here to share the bad news that everything great about the pale pink party dip is still alive and well now in the 21st century. In spite of its mid-century associations, the genre of fish-shaped fish goes back much further. Throughout the 15th century, fish jellies were often eaten by meat-abstaining Catholics on Fridays. As refrigeration technology advanced and gelatin molds became an even more common feature in the homes of 1950-era's American housewives, the pureed fish mousse, a jiggly pastel centerpiece, became a staple of dinner parties through the next several decades. This mousse is typically served chilled, often as a starter or appetizer, and can be presented in various forms, such as molded into shapes, spread on toast, or piped into decorative patterns. The main ingredient is usually a white fish, such as cod, sole, or haddock. Salmon is also popular for a richer flavor and a pink hue. The mixture is poured into a mold or serving dish and chilled for several hours until set. If no gelatin is used, the mousse is simply chilled to achieve the right consistency. Fish mousse is often unmolded onto a plate and garnished with fresh herbs, lemon slices, or caviar. It can also be served in small ramekins or piped onto crackers or toast points. Number 6. Ring around the tuna. The illustration may look deceptively delicious, but your heart may sink as you read the instructions. This dish typically features a tuna salad or tuna casserole mixture, encased or surrounded by a ring of gelatin, rice, or another base, resulting in a molded presentation that was popular at the time. With a sense of doom, the recipe instructs you to dissolve the Jello, add in the vinegar, the onion, chill it, and add a final slurry of cucumber, celery, pimento, stuffed olives, and flaked tuna. After it becomes a solid mass, it may maintain its shape for 2 seconds and promptly collapse. It was more or less tuna surrounded by seedless vegetables and the lime Jello, as if to say, sorry you had to eat this, here is a citrus twist to cauterize the gaping wound in your soul. In the 1950s, many people bought their first refrigerators and wanted to show it off by making everything in gelatin. Every course of a meal could be made in a mold. Today, anything that isn't dessert is an object of fun. Today, while it might not be a dish that regularly appears on modern menus, Ring Around the Tuna remains a fascinating snapshot of the food trends and home cooking practices of the 1970s. Number 5. Frosted Lime Walnut Salad. The frosted lime walnut salad was another one of those recipes ads found sandwiched in magazines. This dish is a type of congealed salad, which was a popular category of salads during that era, often involving gelatin, fruit, nuts, and a creamy topping. But again, despite looking like vomit, it had tolerable ingredients: pineapple, cottage cheese, lime Jello, celery, pimento, and walnuts mixed together. Sure, why not? The base of the salad is typically lime-flavored gelatin, which provides the dish with its signature bright green color and tangy flavor. Softened cream cheese is blended with the gelatin mixture to create a frosted or layered effect. This gives the salad a richer, more indulgent taste. Crushed pineapple, chopped walnuts, and marshmallows are stirred into the gelatin mixture. Some recipes might also include cottage cheese for extra texture. All in all, it tastes like a less sour key lime pie. Miraculously, this was the best of all the foods listed. In conclusion, should you be forced to consume any of these vintage recipes at gunpoint, go with one of the fruit gelatins with salad ingredients. Jello salads were once very common, and they make great recipes. I hate to see Jello become out of fashion. Jello recipes were standard in school lunches and cafeteria-type restaurants. For those who grew up with it, this salad can evoke fond memories of family gatherings and holiday meals. However, to modern palates, the combination of lime Jello, walnuts, and creamy toppings might seem unusual or even unappetizing. Today, frosted lime walnut salad is often seen as a nostalgic or kitschy dish, representative of a bygone era in American cooking. Number 4. Perfection Salad. Hey look, it's another McCall's Great American Recipe. With more Jello, the Perfection Salad strives to live up to its name by including apple juice, lemon juice, vinegar, carrots, celery, cabbage, green pepper, and pimentos, aka the Milwaukee Bucks of the vegetable world. After combining apples and lime juice with the assorted vegetables and cooling and unmolding, it looks brutal and ominous. A key feature of 1970 salads was their vibrant colors and eye-catching presentation. The use of colorful gelatin, arranged fruits, and molded shapes made these salads visually striking. Everything stands still inside a sea of apple lemon Jello. Today, these types of salads are often seen as nostalgic or retro, with some people appreciating them for their kitsch factor and others viewing them as a curious relic of mid-century American cooking. While they may not be as common at the modern dinner table, they're still cherished by those who grew up with them and are sometimes revived for retro-themed parties or as a nod to culinary history. Number 3. Monteray Salad. In addition to traditional cards and books, recipes also appeared on the insides of magazines in the 1970s, usually with a nifty coupon and some sort of technicolor picture that could have been a photo, a drawing, or a frightening hallucination brought on by repressed childhood memories. One such recipe is the Monteray Salad. The recipe instructs us to mix mayonnaise and lemon juice into dissolved flavorless gelatin and place it in the freezer for 15 minutes to make it thick. We then drop it in tuna, stuffed olives, celery, onion, and pimento and let it sit in the fridge. As soon as it passes the Cosby test, it would suitably be a wigglin' and a jigglin' to reveal the gelatinous fish treasure our forefathers had promised us with a tuna aroma that permeates your past, present, and future, only to gag immediately. Seriously, your whole body would give a collective "oh hell no" as you fight to swallow the mutant albacore lump. The fresh celery was helpless before the pimento mayo tuna Jello miasma that settled into your skull cavity. We're not sure how the city of Monterey got roped up in this recipe, but we know it's not their fault this happened, so let's just blame, say, Fresno. Number 2. Banana Meatloaf. The banana meatloaf from the 1970s is one of those curious culinary concoctions that has gained a certain level of infamy due to its unusual combination of ingredients. At first, this seems ridiculous, but if you love other meat and fruit combos, so maybe this is worth a try. While it might sound strange today, this dish is a reflection of the experimental and sometimes eccentric food trends that characterize mid-20th century American home cooking. The base of the meatloaf would be the typical mixture of ground beef or a combination of meats like pork or beef, seasoned with onions, garlic, and spices. The unusual twist in this recipe is the inclusion of mashed bananas. The bananas were typically mixed into the meat mixture, potentially to add moisture and a slight sweetness to the meatloaf. The meatloaf was baked in the oven until cooked through, with the bananas theoretically adding a touch of sweetness and moisture to the dish. Banana meatloaf, however, was not widely embraced, and for many, it was considered a culinary misstep. The combination of bananas with meat was seen as off-putting, especially when compared to other traditional meatloaf recipes. Over time, the dish has become somewhat of a disgusting legend, often cited in lists of bizarre or failed recipes from the past. Number 1. Boiled eggs stuffed with salad cream. The dish of boiled eggs stuffed with salad cream from the 1970s is an example of the experimental and often odd food combinations that were popular during that era, even though the concept might sound unusual or unappetizing today. Salad cream is a tangy, creamy condiment that was very popular in the UK and somewhat in the US during the mid-20th century. It's similar to mayonnaise, but has a thinner consistency and a more pronounced vinegar tang. The yolks of the boiled eggs would typically be removed, mixed with the salad cream, and possibly other ingredients like mustard, pickle relish, or even a bit of chopped onion, then spooned back into the hollowed egg whites. For many, the idea of using salad cream as a filling for eggs might seem unappealing due to its tangy, vinegary taste, which can be overpowering when paired with the richness of egg yolks. This dish, like many from the era, may be remembered as disgusting or brutal by modern standards, especially if the flavors and textures didn't meld well together. The 1970s were a time when convenience foods and processed ingredients were heavily marketed to home cooks. Salad creams, a ready-made condiment, was widely used as a shortcut to add flavor and moisture to various dishes. Stuffed eggs, also known as deviled eggs, were already a popular appetizer, but using salad cream as a filling was a way to incorporate this trendy ingredient into a familiar dish. These were the 20 brutal dinners from 50 years ago. If you think we missed anything, do let us know below in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Abe. Abe.